We are
MEDnBlack. This platform is aimed to share our unique experiences
and to provide mentorship for those aspiring to pursue a career in medicine.
3 stories to reach one goal. Welcome to
MEDnBlack.
Welcome to
MEDnBlack. How did we get into medical school? In this series, we're going to share our personal stories on how each of us got into medical school, the trials and tribulations we had to go through, and how we made it to where we are today.
We made it.
Starting with one of us. Now, I'm wondering, 5 MCATs? Now, which one of us took 5 MCATs?
Feel 7.
You sound like Denzel.
Hey everybody, my name is Onenye. I'm from Houston, Texas. I went to Houston Community College and I transferred to the University of Houston where I graduated. I went on to do a postbac at Texas Southern University and I completed my master's at Morehouse School of Medicine. And I applied to medical schools 5 times and took my MCAT 7 times. Here's my story. So it all started off in high school. I went to a health professions high school in Houston called Michael E. DeBakey High School for Health Professions. All my siblings went there. At the time, we all knew we kind of wanted to be in the health professions, and it was the best school in Houston, so why not? I graduated high school with like a 2.8 GPA. I wasn't the best student at all. Our high school was really, really small, so you're around competitive people all the time. You know, you want to be a doctor, but you don't really have the motivation or guidance to do so. So when I applied to college, I actually got rejected at my top choice, the University of Houston. So I didn't want to do community college, but I knew that was the best path financially. So I went on to do a 1.5 years. I left there with a 3.5 GPA, and I transferred to the University of Houston after a 1.5 years. And that's where everything kind of went downhill. In retrospect, if I could do HCC for 4 years, I would have. We'll get to that later. But you're going from a class size of like 30 people to an auditorium of 600. So the whole intimacy of community college, and then going to a big auditorium of 500, 600 people where the professor doesn't even know your name. They're just in and out. You're just another number to them. That was new for me because my high school was small, community college was small, and you're just thrown into the jungle pretty much. So I remember I took physics and basic chemistry, and I just did poorly on it. I remember I got a D in Chem 2, and you already know Chem 2 is a prereq for medical school. So my professor, he actually said, after our first exam, he told us, if you want to be a doctor and you got to be on this exam, you shouldn't do it. And here I am with my D on every test. I'm like, this is somebody who wants to be a doctor, and I'm getting D's on these exams. It kept on happening like that. I took organic chemistry. I got a C in both Orgo 1 and 2, C- in both labs, biochemistry C+, human phys a C, and I just didn't take the undergrad experience really seriously. I knew I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't know how competitive it was. A lot of my classmates from high school went to undergrad with me, and they wanted to do their MCAT. I didn't know what the MCAT was, but I knew I wanted to be a doctor. They wanted to be doctors. They were all talking about it, so I was like, I guess I'll take it too. For those of you who are new to the whole pre-med lifestyle, I took the old MCAT. It was based on a 45-point scale, and I got a 13. A 13 compared to the new scale, that's probably like a 480 or so, probably less. But I didn't know any difference, so I applied to medical school, and I didn't get it. I didn't know that you needed strong letters of recommendations. I didn't know that you needed a strong MCAT. I just went in blind.
Okay. Yada, 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 yada.
my goodness.
Yada, yada. You get it. We get it. It took you a while to get here. Now you're here. Congratulations.
Yep.
But I got some questions.
Hey! I was getting into it too.
I got some questions.
What questions you got?
You're doing too much. So you were talking about your grades in undergrad, how you got C's and D's, and if you knew you wanted to be a doctor, why wasn't there like any improvement? Like after your first few bad grades, you know?
I didn't have anybody to tell me, honestly. And you know, you need a good, like, you know how you have the angel and the devil on your shoulders? I didn't have anybody to like guide me in the path of wanting to be a doctor. I was the first one in my family going straight forward to the path of being a doctor. So I just didn't have any guidance, so I didn't know.
Okay.
And what, out through all this, you know, you getting all these C's, you getting all these D's, you made a D in the class.
Mm-hmm.
What kept you going?
What kept me going? Like, what else was I gonna do? I didn't want to do pharmacy. I didn't want to be a nurse. I knew I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't know how competitive it was. So, and I'm pretty stubborn, so it's like, what else am I gonna do? Let me just keep doing it. Eventually, they're gonna say yes. Eventually.
Okay. So 7 MCATs
7 MCATs.
and 5 application cycles.
5 long application cycles.
That's a lot of money,
It is.
right? Did you pay for that on your own?
I
Did
paid
you have
for
help
it.
from your parents?
It was so long ago, I don't even remember. I don't even remember the first couple times. I do remember the second time I took my MCAT, my whole system shut down. They had to reboot the exam in the middle of it. Even though I was probably going to bomb it anyway, but they had to reboot it. But it's been so long, I don't even know if they helped contribute to it. But for the majority of the times, I paid for it myself.
Wow. So you don't think that the fact that you were paying for it on your own, that didn't like drive you to change your studying habits, or do you think it was the exam? Like, was it you? Why did it take you so many times?
So I wouldn't say I didn't study for it. I just didn't study for it properly or have like proper study techniques. Nobody was there to guide me like, oh, you need to, like I had the books and everything, but I'll just read at service level. And I would go on Google and type in MCAT review and just like go from bullet point to bullet point and do no practice exams, no practice questions. I just be like, okay, that's good. Take the exam.
So basically you're going blind.
I'm going in blind, and I just didn't know what I was doing at all. So after like my 3rd time, I was like, okay, I need to study. I need to invest in a course or something like that. But I would ask my friends who've taken their MCAT, can I use like the residual? Because it's expensive, like $1,500. I'm not paying for that. So I would approach off my friends and ask them, hey, can I, get that password? So yeah, but it still wasn't effective at all. But every time I took it, there was a gradual increase. Okay. So that was the only thing keeping me going. Like I didn't care that it was gonna take me 4 times or 5 times. Like after 3 times, it's like, okay, come on, just it doesn't matter. But as long as I saw improvement, that was all the motivation I needed, because I knew that I was doing something right and something different each time.
Well, from all this experience, going through everything you went through, what is the single best piece of advice you can give these people?
Don't compare yourself. And most importantly, and I know a lot of you pre-meds do it because I did it too early on, stay off of SDN, stay off of Reddit, because half of those people don't know nothing about nothing. They're all trolls. If you really think about it, who are these random people to tell you that you can't get into medical school? They don't know anything about you other than what you put on the internet. Some of these people aren't even in the health field. They're just random people who just go to make you, like, you don't ever leave any of these websites feeling better about yourself. You always feel worse. So stay off of it. These people don't know anything. These people can't tell you your chances of getting into medical school. There's no formula. At the end of the day, if you work hard for it, if you want it, they will accept you. eventually, because everybody's time is different. So do not compare to your friends. Do not compare to the Genio calculator on SDN or whatever nonsense that they have. There's no formula into getting into medical school. If they want you, your resume will speak for itself. Grades or not, MCAT or not. Because none of my MCATs were above a 500. After 7 times. What's the lifetime limit for MCATs? 7.
Yep.
So
last time I checked.
I hit the lifetime limit. I didn't care because at the end of every day, this is what I wanted to do. I was going to do it whether they accepted me. I probably applied to like 200 schools over probably more, over the whole 5 applications.
Okay. Another question. You were talking about how you didn't really have anybody to show you the ropes. How important do you think mentorship is, and do you currently have a mentor?
It's probably the most important aspect of everything. Honestly, it wasn't until I went to Texas Southern University, that was my first post-bac, that, because I knew my science GPA coming out of undergrad was a 3.0 cum and a 2.74 science GPA. And you all know that's bad. So I was applying to medical schools, and I didn't know that wasn't not competitive, So I knew I had to boost my chances of getting to medical school or a master's program because I was doing research. How could I improve my chances of getting into medical school? Oh, you have master's programs. Okay. So I had to do a post-bac to even qualify for a master's program because my science GPA and my cum was so low. So it wasn't until I went to TSU, I met so many professors there who took me seriously, because that's the thing. A lot of professors won't take you seriously because you're a black male or a black woman. You have to show interest. And luckily, I was already a graduate, already had a degree, so they looked at me a little differently. I came in there, I was like, look, and at the time I was still teaching high school. So I was like, look, I'm trying to improve my GPA, I'm trying to go to medical school, guide me, pretty much. And yeah, they took me under their wing, and
look at you now.
Yeah, look at me now.
Thank God.
All right. I would say that is a very interesting story.
Most interesting.
I don't know if I could have done it, really, but I feel like that takes a lot of dedication. So I want you to tell the people 30 seconds, if you had something to say, anything at all, to people who are in medical school, who want to become doctors, who are in high school, college. 30 seconds. Let me get my timer out.
Ooh, 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Ooh. Well, let me say this before she put her timer on.
No.
High school students, do not take AP courses. Take them in a community college.
All right, I'm ready. 30 seconds.
Lord have mercy. I was giving them keys.
Starting now.
Don't compare yourself to anybody. Run your own race. The people who you think are doing the best and are bragging about themselves, you really don't know what situation they're in. So just run your own race. There's a lot of people like me in the world. They just don't feel comfortable sharing the situation. But we're out here. You may not hear about it, but we're out here. So don't try and seem low about your situation. If I can get in after 7 MCATs and 5 applications, you can too.
Beautiful.
She put my timer on.
Thank you.
Listen, it's an inspiring story to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though I had my own story, but that's the one.
All right, we appreciate you guys for watching. Please, this is only the beginning of our series. We have 2 more stories to share. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and ask Oninia questions if you have any.
Please, my DMs are open. Our info is in the description below. So
clearly, you see he has nothing to hide.
I have nothing to hide. We are
MEDnBlack.